Nobody planned for it to look like this. Not the producers, not the league, not NBC, and honestly, not even Caitlin Clark herself. Because this was supposed to be easy, clean, forgettable. A quick appearance, a polite smile, a 2-minute chat. The classic crossover moment everyone claps for and then moves on from. That's the script they wrote in their heads. But the second her name was said on that broadcast, everything went sideways. The room didn't get louder, it got heavier. Phones came out. Conversations stopped. Eyes locked on the screen. Because somehow, without warning, this didn't feel like a guest spot anymore. It felt like something slipped through the cracks too early, too fast, too big. And once that feeling hits, there's no undo button. At first, it all looked normal. Just another NBA night on NBC Sports. Highlights rolling, crowd noise humming, analysts joking around. Then the host casually says it. Joining us tonight, Caitlin Clark. Simple, harmless. Except the moment the camera cut to her, the energy changed completely. You could feel it through the screen. Not excitement, not hype, something uncomfortable. Like the room suddenly realized this wasn't supposed to happen yet. She wasn't supposed to be here like this. Not on this stage, not this confident, not this ready. But there she was, sitting between veteran analysts, calm, relaxed, no nerves, no rookie awkwardness, like she'd been doing this for a decade. And that's when people leaned forward. Because she didn't look impressed, she didn't look grateful, and she definitely didn't look like someone asking for permission.
And the NBA players on set, I'm going to wear stilts next time you see her there with Carmelo and Reggie Miller. And that's with Reggie Miller saying he's the third best shooter in the state of Indiana right now.
There's a new shooter from Indiana. See, I'm the third best shooter in the state of Indiana now. Okay. It goes Caitlin, Tyrese, and now myself.
We'll have to get Tyrese's opinion on that. I'm not sure Tyrese would agree.
So there you go. Caitlin talking about that, poking fun at the appearance. That was one of the first things that stood out. Then there is the important question, which came later in the broadcast about the CBA. And one thing you have to like about it is Caitlin Clark.
Then she started talking. And that's when it stopped being cute. She broke down plays like a coach, called out defensive mistakes in real time, corrected the host, corrected former players. Not aggressively, not loudly, just confidently, like someone who already belonged. And viewers noticed instantly. Social media didn't warm up, it exploded. Clips started flying everywhere. Wait, she's actually good. Why does she sound like this? How does a rookie talk with this much authority? And that's when the tone shifted again. Because authority is different than hype. Authority makes people uncomfortable, especially when it shows up uninvited.
There is no more iconic figure in basketball, in women's game right now, or the game in general, about Caitlin Clark. In the game in general. That's all I gotta say is that that is not something that the WNBA will be happy with. We saw it. The WNBPA said that Alyssa Thomas was the reason why people are watching. And by the way, it's not even, people are like, oh, it was the finals about Alyssa Thomas. No. They literally said it wasn't just the playoffs, but our regular season broke records as fans went to watch Alyssa Thomas.
Behind the scenes, things were already spiraling. Phones lighting up. Front office staff texting each other. Are you watching this? Why is she on prime time? Since when did this happen? Because for years, there was an unspoken rule everyone followed. WNBA stays in its lane. NBA stays in theirs. Separate worlds, separate money, separate attention. And rookies especially don't cross that line. You wait, you earn it, you're introduced slowly. Except nobody told Caitlin Clark that rule existed, or maybe she heard it and ignored it. Either way, she walked straight through a door that wasn't supposed to open yet.
The league's biggest star is saying she's confident a CBA will get done. Then there were some other topics hit up on the broadcast as well, including her wanting to play at Madison Square Garden. You know, that is where she was broadcasting from the Knicks and the Lakers. It is a great arena. I've spent a lot of time in the Garden.
Lakers and the Knicks taking center stage here for the 302nd overall meeting. And for the first time ever, we've got basketball night in America, the first Sunday in February. And we're joined by our special correspondent. Welcome to the team, Caitlin Clark. Yes.
Welcome. MSG for a Knicks game. It's pretty cool.
I know, it's our first Knicks game, first time feeling the...
And then came the moment nobody could explain away. The broadcast cut to Madison Square Garden. Packed, loud, historic. The kind of place where legends are made. And the crowd wasn't chanting for the NBA stars. They weren't chanting for the game. They were chanting her name. Caitlin, Caitlin, Caitlin. Inside MSG on an NBA night. Let that sink in. A WNBA rookie getting louder cheers than NBA veterans in the most famous arena in basketball. That's not normal. That's not marketing. That's takeover energy. And takeover energy scares people in charge. Because now this isn't a guest appearance anymore. This isn't cross-promotion. This feels like a shift. And shifts mean control starts slipping.
Listen, there's a new, first of all, there's a new shooter from Indiana. See, I'm the third best shooter in the state of Indiana now. It goes Caitlin, Tyrese, and now myself.
We'll have to get Tyrese's opinion on that. I'm not sure Tyrese would agree.
Here, right here, she's taking over for me right now.
into the arena.
Well, I feel fortunate enough. A lot of the arenas we go into, a lot of people are cheering for our team, which is pretty nice.
Snap.
But there are some road games. I think even the Liberty fans, San Francisco, the Valkyries have a great crowd. Like, you want to take them out of it right away. You want to make them call the first time out. I think that's kind of what we always talk about. But that's what makes it fun. And I like what he said. If you're a star, like, these are the games you show up for. And that's really true. Like, these are the games that just mean a little bit more. Like MSG on a Sunday night. Like, that's what you get.
Veterans felt it immediately. And you can almost picture it if you slow down for a second, because this wasn't about jealousy, it was about reality. Imagine grinding for 10 straight years, empty seats night after night, commercial flights, long road trips, low pay, constant fights for respect that never quite come. Every season you tell yourself, maybe this is the year things change. And then, out of nowhere, a 22-year-old walks in and in a single night gets more national attention than you've had your entire career. Let that sink in. That doesn't feel motivating. That doesn't feel inspiring. That feels personal. That feels like someone just skipped the entire line you've been standing in for a decade.
More iconic figure in basketball in the women's game right now, or the game in general. So we said, let's have a bigger conversation. And it's just so crazy that it feels like every other sport will just come out and say what it is besides the WNBA. The NBA is not scared to acknowledge that there's no more iconic figure in basketball. Not just the women's game, but possibly the game in general than Caitlin Clark. But we would not hear that in the WNBA space. We wouldn't hear that from WNBA media. But the NBA media and the NBA and the league itself is not scared to say it. Like we've seen it when Caitlin does golf events. It just seems like every league but her own is not scared to say the.
And that's when the whispers started. Quiet at first, then louder. This is too much. They're forcing her everywhere. It's just hype. It'll fade. Except it didn't fade. The numbers told a different story. Every segment she touched jumped. Every clip she appeared in exploded. Not a little, not over time, instantly. Massive spikes that couldn't be explained away. And that's when the uncomfortable truth showed itself. The one nobody wanted to say out loud because once you say it, you can't unsee it. She wasn't riding the league's popularity. The league was riding hers. And once that balance flips, everything changes. Then something even stranger happened. She didn't just perform well on camera, she controlled the room. Hosts started asking her questions differently. Guests deferred to her takes. Former NBA players nodded while she explained plays. A rookie teaching veterans on national television. That's not normal. That's dominance. And dominance creates enemies fast. Because now it doesn't look like, look how far women's basketball has come. It looks like, how did we miss this? And nothing embarrasses executives more than missing the future. And here's the part that stings the most. Insiders say NBC wasn't even the first call. Another network hesitated, delayed, overthought it. Classic mistake. NBC moved fast, signed her, booked her, done. Overnight, they owned the moment, which means someone else missed the generational star. And after the show ended, there was no celebration, no congratulations, just silence. The kind of silence that happens when people realize history just shifted and they don't know whether to clap or panic. Because deep down, everyone understood the truth. Caitlin Clark didn't debut on NBC. She didn't guest star. She didn't cameo. She crossed over. And once someone crosses over like that, you can't put them back in the box. She wasn't just a WNBA player anymore. She was a basketball figure, period. Choosing platforms, choosing opportunities, holding real power. And organizations hate when players have power because power means leverage, and leverage means control moves.
Healthy. It doesn't matter what arena it is, what venue, home, road. The biggest thing is Caitlin Clark being back playing basketball and healthy. But, you know, her crack there was good, too. The Liberty probably aren't going to want to move over. She knows the history. The Liberty were owned by the Garden, Dolan, and MSG. They are now owned by Joe Tsai and the play over at Barclays in Brooklyn, so there's no chance the Liberty would ever play in Madison Square Garden if you know the dynamics between the Knicks and the Nets in the city.
So when the lights shut off that night and the crowd went home and the clips kept spreading online, one uncomfortable question stayed floating around league offices. If she did this on her first NBC appearance, what happens next? Because this didn't feel like a peak. It felt like a warning shot. Like the beginning of something bigger, something the system wasn't ready for. And maybe that's why nobody wanted to say it out loud, even though everyone was thinking it. This wasn't just TV. This wasn't just hype. This was the night Caitlin Clark stepped onto a stage bigger than her league and made it look easy. And when someone makes history look easy, that's when you know the game just changed forever.